The first thing, and I saw it very fast when I saw Bitcoin 2012, I realized, okay, yeah, I get this totally. This is the future of everything.
The asset itself is creating nothing.
I think it's a scumball activity.
I would short it if there was an easy way to do it.
And look, I'm a disciple of Buffett and Munger, and one of the things that they have said for years, which I believe, is you define a circle of competence and you stay within it.
And if you look at how many people hold Bitcoin are in profit, right? So basically wherever they bought Bitcoin, what that price was compared to now, it's about 89, 90% of people are in profit.
But if you go back then, so 2008, another era-defining thing happens, which is the Satoshi white paper, right? That's all a function of this, all a function of the same thing. And I think this whole thing ends with a whimper and not a bang. If it was going to end with a bang, it would have done it last year. If there was no intervention by government, it was the end of everything. So they've got the trick, is debasement, hides the reality. So what's interesting is people have started to figure this out. They've started to figure out they're getting screwed. And the figuring out getting screwed drives you to look for answers. The traditional answer was gold. But the problem is the millennials can't generate wealth. If gold defends your wealth, so it becomes incredibly difficult to generate wealth. Bitcoin comes along, it changes the equation. It takes a long time for people to see it, but these things, this adoption takes a while. But people realize, okay, here is a construct, a technological construct, ubiquitous global scarcity. And therefore, if we all perceive it to have value, then it shall be so. And so the migration begins. The first thing, and I saw it very fast when I saw Bitcoin 2012, after Europe, I realized, okay, yeah, I get this totally. This is the future of everything, because I'd learned some shocking things in 2012. I went around the world to try and start the world's safest bank. And at the time, my idea was it should hold all deposits in treasury bonds of whichever country it was going to be, default risk-free, pretty much so. And then somebody showed me Bitcoin. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. And then we had a meeting with the DTCC, who clear and custody all US securities. So this is the clearing and settlement of all bonds, equities, everything, because nobody knew what collateral there was. The point being, what Bitcoin saw to me was that blockchain allowed the secure recorded ownership of everything, where it was traceable to who owns what. Right. And that was the problem that we had, is nobody knows who the hell owns what in an over-leveraged financial system. They are, until it's the DTCC themselves who are on the hook. Then all bets are off, and it's each man for himself. The other fragility was obviously the derivative market that nobody can figure out, because there's 1 quadrillion of those outstanding. Right? So they start centralizing that as well, putting it into the CME and the other exchanges, ICE and stuff, to try and have some way of figuring out how the hell to stop it when it all goes wrong. But blockchain changed that, because I saw it immediately and thought, well, every single security on earth is going on blockchain. Decentralized it needs to be for that, open to debate, but it needs to be decentralized enough, and it needs to be on a blockchain that you can prove it. This is where a lot of people start waking up and going, okay, we need a different way of doing things. If you're the base layer of collateral, your equity or whatever it is that's been relent and reused and whatever it is, when it all goes wrong, the blockchain has full recorded every transaction. So it's not hidden somewhere. I mean, half the bloody swaps contracts were in bits of paper in drawers, because derivatives was exploding in the market and nobody had the technology to onboard all of this stuff into a system that could record it. The same is true probably of insurance. If California has an earthquake, who's double insured, who's single insured, who's claiming what? Nobody the hell knows. Nobody knows any of this stuff in the current system. It's got itself into a mess. So all of this becomes interesting. So the rise of crypto becomes an obvious thing, and it becomes a migration. So what I think you're going to see, and there's a lot more to come on this, what you're going to see is an ongoing gradual debasement and an ongoing gradual migration. And the people who see it last are the ones who get hurt the most. Or maybe it's just the rich who see it last, because they got the least to lose, because they're getting access to the money and they can make the money, and they're buying equities and they think all is fine. rich people can buy real estate on leverage and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe they're the last to see it. Some see it, obviously, and others probably don't because they're all okay. And their S&P portfolio's gone up and their gold looks fine, but they don't realize that they're probably getting net poorer. It's this period of the 20 years that I'm worried about. But the sooner we all start migrating, which you and I did a while ago, the easier it becomes to see that the emperor's got no clothing. The easier it is to realize, stop waiting for the big bang. Understand what the game is. The game is not what you want it to be. The game is what it is. And you have to play the game you're given.
Well said.
Too many people spend so long angry that the game is not being played as they want it to be. Right? This is why everybody imposes their politics on everything. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
The game is what's being served to you. You deal with that.
Play the hand you're dealt. I think it's excellent advice. And it's just occurring to me, by just denominating yourself in Bitcoin, you are able to see the truth of what's going on. Like, to your point, this boom in the equities market, like, it goes away when you denominate yourself accordingly. It also lets you participate in this price deflationary reality of the new digital universe, right? If you're just denominating yourself in Bitcoin, things are getting cheaper. Life's getting easier. So it's funny to me, like, it really does seem like we've diverged from truth significantly with all these economic machinations. And now the digital world is just kind of throwing water over it. And it's like revealing truth again.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm not sure what a deflationary world does to other aspects of being a human, because it almost stops all spending, because your money becomes the savings, the asset now.
Right.
If your money is the asset, then you don't buy anything.
You invest, maybe, right? So it'd be a trade-off from consumption to investment.
Why invest if your money goes up? You don't do anything. Velocity of money could go to zero if you're not careful. That's the only thing I can't get my head around, is how do you stop velocity of money going to zero?